What's up, Trainiacs? With 2018 coming to an end, I've started thinking about which pro triathletes had the best season. So we are going to go through our annual 3 best male and 3 best female triathletes over the course of the 2018 season. There might be some surprises in there, and there might be some letdowns that I was hoping we could fit in more females from the ITU circuit, but didn't happen. Anyway, today, here it is. The best pro triathletes of 2018. All right, let's get into the best pro triathletes over the course of the 2018 season. Now, there is nothing official about it. Frankly, I just started thinking and going back into some of the bigger races, the more competitive races, and I'm sure you have opinions on all these, so whether you agree with them or not, let me know what you think of this list in the comments below and who you think were the best pro triathletes of the year. So let's get into this, starting with the 3rd best male triathlete of the year. In my opinion, that was Terenzo Bizzone. Now, he started off 2018 winning and setting a course record at Ironman New Zealand, going 7:59:57 on a course that is known for being very, very slow. He then went on to rattle off 3 wins in 3 weeks at very competitive half Ironman races, being Bariloche, Campeche, then Busselton. Unfortunately then, Terenzo's season was sidelined when he was swiped by a car in a hit and run, nearly losing his life. But what solidified why this is the 3rd best season of the year is because when Terenzo came back just at the end of November, he still won. He won half Ironman Western Sydney, and this wasn't a duck of a race. He went up against the 5th place finisher at half Ironman World, Sam Appleton, who was a phenomenal racer, and Terenzo still won, showing just how fit he was this year, even after being sidelined for 5 months. So congratulations to Terenzo. Looking forward to seeing what you can do with a hopefully crash-free 2019. Now let's get into the 3rd best female of 2018, and I think that was Annie Haug. Since she has stepped up to the longer distance races, she has been on a tear in half Ironmans, and she started off the year just like she ended 2017, winning half Ironman Oceanside against some of the stiffest competition of the year. You ever heard of triathletes like Holly Lawrence, maybe Heather Jackson, maybe Jeannie Seymour, maybe Sarah True? Well, Annie Haug beat all of them in half Ironman Oceanside. She then debuted at the long distance Ironman distance races, coming into Frankfurt only placing 4th. And at this point, I was thinking, well, maybe she has a lot to learn at the full distance races with Sarah Crowley, Sarah True. That was her first full distance race. But it seems to be like that performance going into Frankfurt might have just been holding back a little so that she could come out and have the best end of the season of anyone besides the next 2 best women on this list. Annie Haug went to half Ironman Worlds, clocking the best run, finishing 3rd, then went to Ironman Kona, clocking the best run, finishing 3rd again, showing that she had lots left in the tank and there was no fade in her whatsoever. I think she might just need to get some bike miles in her legs to see what she can really do. She is small, she is very light, she is an excellent runner, all things that put her in contention of being a really serious threat to win Kona someday. In the position of the 2nd best overall male, I've got to give it to Mario Mola, the Spanish running sensation, lit it up on the ITU circuit with wins in Montreal, Edmonton, Hamburg, and Yokohama. Now, if you follow ITU racing at all, you know how utterly competitive these races are. And if you're off just the slightest little bit, you aren't going to win. If you don't have the depth of fitness enough to race week after week after week with travel on top of it, you aren't going to win. And to see just how dominant Mario Mola was, seeing his year-end points total being 1,500 points ahead of the second place male when second, third, and fourth were all just separated by 150 points shows a lot of serious dominance. Of the races that Mario Mola didn't win his average finish, about 2.4. Pretty good. In the position of second best overall female, I gotta give it to Lucy Charles. I think that she had an incredible breakout year, even more than 2017, where she came out and did phenomenally in Kona. But this was a year where from start to finish, she established herself as probably the next best triathlete out there in the world. And that might even be at the shorter ITU distance. We just don't know because Great Britain won't actually let her race the ITU distance. So she started out the year winning full Ironman South Africa. She won Challenge Samarin. She went second in Challenge Roth. And then on top of that, she came into the most competitive fields of the year, being the World Championships. And not only did she place second in both Half Ironman and Full Ironman World Championships, she placed second only in behind Daniela Ryf, and was well ahead of the rest of the field. 2.5 minutes ahead of Annie Haug in Half Ironman Worlds, 5.5 minutes ahead of Annie Haug in Ironman Kona. She was obviously dominant out of the water as she always is, but that bike fitness seems to be coming along slowly, and she's holding off Ryf more and more with every race that she gets into, and her run seems to be improving more and more every quarter or so. So I gotta say, she's probably the next biggest thing to be in triathlon. She already is. Like, she's it. Now, the greatest male triathlete of 2018, it might surprise you that it doesn't go to Patrick Lange, our world champion. I have to give it to Jan Frodeno. Nobody throughout the course of the year on the men's circuit, whether it was ITU triathlon or half Ironman triathlon or full Ironman triathlon, struck fear into the hearts of competitors like Jan Frodeno did. And with the performance that he put out in Half Ironman Worlds, rightfully so. That may go down in history as the greatest half Ironman ever, perhaps the greatest triathlon race ever. For him to do a 3:36 on that course, which was not a fast course, and run a 1:06 half marathon, that is one of the best performances of any triathlete in history. So dominant that it shook Lionel Sanders to the core, made him cry and doubt whether he would ever be able to beat Jan Frodeno. In addition to that, Jan won Oceanside against Lionel Sanders earlier in the year, and albeit it wasn't a really big dogfight in Ironman Frankfurt, he also won Ironman Frankfurt, capturing the European title. If it weren't for that stress fracture in his hip, we may have seen one of the greatest peaked athletes to ever race triathlon. He was incredible this year, and that performance just went to show how fit he got and how close he came to the edge, suffering that stress fracture. So you might be saying, well, hey Taryn, you got to be able to finish to come out on top. So if you have a better idea for who is the best male triathlete of the year, I want to hear that below. Now let's get into the best female triathlete of the year, and that should be no surprise to anyone. It's Daniela Ryf. If I were to say anything else besides Daniela Ryf for the best female triathlete, if not, I will say the best triathlete start to finish of 2018, male or female, hands down. Now, while Jan may have been the best triathlete at a point in time, having the best race at a point in time, Daniela Ryf won Ironman Kona in a record-breaking time. She became the first female or male, I think, to win 4 half Ironman World Championships in 4:01. She set the half Ironman distance female world record, going 3:57 in Gdynia. She won Ironman Frankfurt, placing 7th overall, even amongst the men, topped that off with a win at half Ironman Zurich, and she was the most dominant triathlete of the year. Basically, when people would say, who do you think is going to win this? It wasn't even a question that Daniela Ryf was going to come in. It was basically how far into the men's field is she going to get, and who is even going to be able to try to tangle with her. So a few things come out of this that lead to discussion that I really do want to hear about from you in the comments below. One, unfortunately, there were no real ITU female athletes that stood out. Katie Zaferes was on top of the points list, but it's not like she really won a whole lot or was dominant. She was just like kind of the most consistently good. And while there were a lot of athletes that did have good performances, Radka Vadichkova, Miranda Carfrae, Sarah True, all of these athletes having good performances here and there, I don't think there was anyone as good as our women's world championship podium in both half Ironman and full Ironman distance. If there's somebody else, I'd like to hear that below. And then also, it was unfortunate that we didn't get to see just how fit Jan Frodeno could be. My question to you is, do you think that he would have beat Patrick Lange? Also, I think Cody Beals deserves an honorable mention for winning his first 2 full Ironman distance races. I think a lot of people deserve honorable mentions here, and I want to hear from you who I missed out and who you think should be on this list. Let me know all of your thoughts in the comments below. This should be a fun little comment section. Congratulations to all the racers. If you aren't already subscribed, hit the subscribe button below. And if you are subscribed, just get in that comment section. Mix it up. Later, Trainiacs.